Did you miss any of the E3 shows? Were you super excited for the new reveals? Who had the best conference? Today, we will do a debriefing on the 2018 E3 press shows, who had the most exciting news, and tell you who basically won this year. I am Kenneth Rodriguez, and this is Geek Hotfix. So this year, we saw a lot of never-before-seen games, new gameplay for games previously announced, and some surprises. Let's start at the top, so get ready, sit back, and let's geek out. This year's E3 conference run was started by no other than Electronic Arts. They showed a couple of games that made people become excited, one of these being Anthem. Looks beautiful, but I still think that what they are showing us is just a vertical slice and not final product code. And it also reminds me a lot of Warframe, but with a little bit of Destiny mixed in it. We also got some sports game including FIFA, Madden NFL, and NBA Live. Some smaller titles showed up as well, most notably Unravel 2 and Sea of Solitude. This last one was actually a really welcome surprise. All in all, I think it was a solid conference. Not their best, but not their worst. Then we move along to Microsoft. After kicking off its presentation with a trailer for Halo Infinite, Microsoft went on to show 50 video games, including over a dozen of Xbox One exclusives. Some of the highlights included Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Forza Horizon 4, Gears of War 5, a new Battletoads game, and an expansion for Cuphead. And those were just the exclusives. We were also introduced to Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice from the team behind Dark Souls, The Division 2, Shadows of the Tomb Raider, and Devil May Cry 5. Learned about the anime-centric Jump Force, and saw a ton of sequels like Just Cause 4 and Dying Light 2. Then to cap it all off, a Cyberpunk 2077 trailer was shown, and it was glorious. Can't wait to see what Project CD Red has in store for us. As a conference, it started with great momentum, but in the middle it dragged a little bit. They managed to pick back up the excitement, and I think this was a successful presentation for the House of the X. Our next presentation came from Bethesda. This was a surprising show with a few 2019 titles on display in some form or another, like Rage 2 or Wolfenstein Youngblood, and several announcements that could be at least 2 years away, like Doom Eternal, Starfield, and The Elder Scrolls 6. The games that are coming out this year are off the beaten path though, with Fallout 76 diving headfirst into online multiplayer, and The Elder Scrolls Blades bringing the franchise to mobile devices this fall. It's too bad that Starfield and the next Elder Scrolls title are still so far out, but this was a strong showing for Bethesda overall. Best part of the evening was when Todd Howard made an appearance and just geeked out. He made an amazing analogy of E3 as a child growing up and showed us my personal favorite game for this year's E3, Skyrim Alexa. Can't wait to play that one. Our next conference came from Square Enix. I honestly don't know why Square Enix even bothered to stream anything this year. It had been 3 years since the Japanese publisher held its own event at E3, and after all that time, the best that it could come up with was a bunch of recycled trailers from other press conferences and a few incredibly vague announcements. When a highlight of your event is a Monster Hunter crossover event for Final Fantasy XIV, you know you screwed up. That being said, I am excited to see what Babylon's Fall actually is. And to be fair, I do want to play a bunch of the games Square Enix showed off, like Kingdom Hearts 3, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, but this could have been and were presented in other conferences. And my biggest gripe with it was that if you're not even going to mention the Final Fantasy VII Remake, don't host a stream. Our next conference came from Ubisoft. If nothing else, Ubisoft certainly knows how to put on a show. I like the lack of a dedicated announcer because it gave the developers more time to speak about their projects. Beyond Good and Evil 2 continues to be one of my most anticipated games, even though I think they should just release it as a movie. I mean, the level of detail on their CGI trailer was amazing. And even though we don't know when it's gonna come out, the pre-alpha gameplay showed a lot of promise. I think that everything flowed incredibly smoothly, with a few surprises thrown in between the games. We expected to see like trials rising, raids in The Division 2, a new expansion for Honor. Also, Odyssey looks stunning, even if it's more of a reskin of Assassin's Creed Origins. But that brings us to PlayStation. One of the worst conferences that they have, plain and simple. Started off without any rhythm, and while it showed us gameplay footage of their main games, they didn't announce any release dates. The Last of Us 2 looked amazing, but that was expected from the House of the Naughty Dog. Ghost of Tsushima intrigues me, but I'm not sold on it just yet. Clearly it was a vertical slice, and while I believe Sucker Punch can deliver, I think that some elements might get downgraded. Spider-Man wowed with its visuals and new trailer, and we had a first look at the gameplay from Death Stranding. I agree with Alexis Chacon that the main story looks like it will involve a feud between UPS and FedEx, postal workers trying to fight for the last delivery routes available for humankind. For real, what the hell was that? It looked amazing, I will give it that. But no matter how amazing the game looks, it just looked like a walking simulator. And we have seen how many trailers for it now. 3, 4? The hype is diminishing. We also got a reveal of Resident Evil 2 remake. Now that was a surprise. It looked amazing using the Resident Evil 7 engine and new camera angle. Control from Remedy looked interesting as well, but it basically looked like Quantum Break 2. Same color schemes, same effects. If they didn't give out a name for it, I would have assumed that it was Quantum Break 2. And then they finally finished with a Neo 2 teaser trailer to end the conference. All in all, one of Sony's worst conferences. Finally, we go to Nintendo. As in past years, Nintendo doesn't use the press conference approach. Instead of, they opt for what they call Nintendo Directs. Basically, curated videos that give away deep looks into some games. This year, they showcase a couple like Pokemon Let's Go, Mario Party, Demon Cross Machina, Fire Emblem, and Fortnite, which, by the way, it's in the eShop right now, and you can download it for free. But then they went into the meat of the Nintendo Direct, which was a deep look into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. They showed all of the 66 characters available and all of the changes in fighter moves, features, stages, you name it. While I was disappointed in the no-show of Metroid Prime 4, I think that Nintendo delivered what it wanted to do. And there you have it. Be it great shows or more direct videos, this year's E3 marks a great time to be a gamer. From first-person shooters like Doom Eternal and online offerings for games like Fallout 76, to amazing graphics and settings like The Last of Us 2 and Spider-Man, and even welcome new games like From Software's Sekiro Shadows Die Twice and CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk 2077. Companies have shown us that the real winners from the E3 is us, the gamers. Doesn't matter if you're playing on one console or in multiple ones, one thing is for sure. We're gonna have to file for bankruptcy with all the great games coming out soon. I hope you enjoyed the video and thank you for your support. If you haven't done so, please subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss all the great content we have in store for you guys. I am Kenneth Rodriguez signing off, and this was Geek Hotfix.